Welcome to the Mom Boss Like a Boss podcast where we talk about mom life, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. I'm your host, Taylor B., a mom of 4 precious boys and an entrepreneur at heart. If you've been looking for a village of like-minded people, then I think you've found the right place. I look forward to talking with you, and I can't wait to see you inside. All right,
I'm
we are
Tommy
going.
D, and I'm ready to ramble.
Woo! Thank you. All right, Tommy D. So, I know there's a lot. It sounds like you've been dealing with a lot of things with Live Nation for the past 15 years.
Yeah, 16 years, just a little bit.
Woo! All right. Well, we're gonna get into that. Today we're gonna talk about resilience because, hey, it sounds like you've had to be very resilient to go through that situation and you've had to come out. And I believe the hearing was last year, a few months ago, if I looked at it right.
Yeah, I did have at a hearing in November.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, I'm gonna ask you all those wonderful questions. So, first things first, tell us about you. Your life story, how you got here, your business, what you do. Tell all the things.
All right, perfect. Well, I grew up just a regular person, working class family. Went to I was fortunate enough to go to a ton of concerts as a kid because ticket prices weren't crazy and expensive. So my dad was able to take me to tons of concerts, Michael Jackson, Prince, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, you pretty much name it, Motley Crue. And because the ticket prices weren't expensive. And that really got me into music. So I had a passion for music, like learning from my dad, taking me all these shows and from a young age. Then my dad passed away when I was younger, and then around 16, mom remarried, didn't work out the best. So I ended up living on my own. And to survive, I rented houses
Mm.
and through house parties. House parties, basically, I had DJs, DJing, hundreds, sometimes 500 underage kids in there drinking, charging them from a cup of beer for a keg to get in. That's how I paid for to survive and live. And then I took people from my houses and we'd go to New York City clubs, like legendary ones like Limelight, Tunnel, bring like 200 people with me. And one day some promoters like, hey, I'll pay you like $1 a head to bring these people in here. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm getting paid to party and maybe I don't get arrested like doing it at my houses. So that's how I really grew into the industry. And then I was like, you know what? I want to create a club empire. And at the time, my family's kind of like, go to college. You're crazy. I was like, no, I'm going to do this. So I came, I started off with just those little guest lists, bringing people in. I worked my way up. Me and my team worked really hard. I packed out my first successful party in the late 90s for about 1,500 people. Over time, with a lot of hard work and a lot of failures, that's for sure. We grew the company over 15 years, running every major club through New Jersey, New York, Miami. I come from that house music world before EDM was cool. That's where I came from my background. We were pioneers of it. Sometimes we were running 5 parties a night, 10,000 people each club.
Wow.
Did everything from the Kardashians, Paris Hilton, Fabulous, Tiesto, Snoop Dogg, you pretty much name it. I got to the top. I won the #1 sound system in the world. I was featured in articles, magazines across the world. These days it'd be like winning an Oscar in your industry. My team's hard work got us there though. I got to the top, um, as high as I could grow, open my own club. Then I wanted to get bigger. And to get bigger, I wanted to get into the festival business. I saw that house
Yeah.
music, which was breaking into, was going to become mainstream. It was going to be like the next rock and roll, or like when hip hop took off. And so I signed a 10-year exclusive deal with the State Fair Meadowlands. Any of your viewers not sure, that's the home of the Jets and the Giants. It was a
Oh,
$2 billion stadium in 2010.
Wow.
They produce all festivals, all events, all concerts. It's the largest state fair, has 500,000 attendees, massive amount of rides intertwined with it. With the concert space that we were looking at doing an EDM festival, over 100,000 people as our start off.
Wow.
Then company Live Nation Entertainment, I'd have found out about it and wiped it out. Um, that's the
Oof.
start of my I guess my story.
Wow. That is a journey right there. Wow. I definitely admire, and I'm sorry for the loss of your father as well. I know it's been a long time, but it never stops hurting, so I'm so
Of course,
sorry
thank
for your
you.
loss. Um, I admire from a young age, you made a way, that's I would say that's the heart of entrepreneurship is you find a way. Everything is figure outable, you know?
Absolutely.
Wow. So, this Live Nation thing, what's the story there? Like, what are they ugh. What do they got going on?
With what they did to me or what they got going on with ripping off fans every single day.
Hey, everything you know, what they did to you and how they're hurting fans.
Cool. So with me, um, ha- I had this contract for 10 years.
Mhm,
Was house music was becoming really popular.
mhm,
Live Nation was sleeping. They weren't involved in my music scene. They weren't involved in house music. They never
mm,
did it. And they saw that this was going mainstream. Their CEO, Michael Rapino, was in the press saying that they needed to acquire or hire all the EDM promoters, me. Um, and his fear was lesser known organizations were going to lock up festival spaces, like I locked up at the Meadowlands. So they came in on when they found out about my contract, they came in a multi-prong attack. They attacked the landlord, the owner of the state for Meadowlands, kicked these guys out. They're robbers, thieves. We won't even let you put your fence up for your fair. We're going to block their talent worldwide. We're going to block the ticketing for them to even be able to do the event. They went to his landlord, the owner of the owner of the Meadowlands. Same thing, bashing us to the powers it could be. Then they
mm,
went directly to the talent agencies, and they blocked all our talent for the whole entire festival. I had to take a meeting with them. They threatened to block all my ticketing from Ticketmaster. I was like, "How are you going to block my ticketing from Ticketmaster? I do business with them." They said we
wow.
bought them, and they did. So that's. They said if an event was going on of 10,000 people in electronic dance, they had to be involved. They gave me an ultimatum to either partner with them, kick my two business partners out. I'd only had a handshake deal with that. They were going to pay me, acquire me, pay for my festival, but they had no right to be involved in it. I kicked these two guys out, but I don't break my word. And then I would have had my festival. I told them I wasn't going to do it. They told me in a click of a button they would wipe it out, and they wiped it out. We're 16 years later.
Whew, goodness gracious, wow, that's a lot. So, how did the case go back in November?
So that's fast forwarding to
Yeah,
November, 15 something years.
yeah.
So Live
Has there
Nation's
been
real.
anything in between that 15 years that is significant, like, in that time frame? Like, have they
Yeah,
continued to try and drag you down?
yeah, Live Nation's really good at a few things: ripping fans off, paying high-priced lawyers, lobbyists, and finding technicalities.
Oh,
We were expecting my case to be in front of a jury within 1 year. The Department of Justice sued them 2 years ago. They got for antitrust. I have tortious interference. That's just like a less complex word.
mm,
They got it in front of a jury in 2 years. I'm at 16 years. Live Nation didn't even ordered by federal courts to turn over all like discovery and evidence in the case. We had to fight for years. They refused to turn it over. They only turned over 5%, what a federal judge ordered. Still
mhm,
haven't got it to this day. They've delayed, delayed, delayed. All I want is a trial. And every single time they tell the judge, we want another mediation. And I'm like, I want a jury trial. It's been at 16 years. And then, it's been a long time. And then going to that hearing last November, um, I had a trial date, just so you know that before,
mhm.
I had a trial date a year before. The judge put a firm trial date. We subpoenaed all the witnesses. We I was excited. I was getting them to trial. I'm like, I get to expose all this evidence, get lower ticket prices for fans. Um, and at the last second, Live Nation wanted another mediation, and we didn't want it, but the court orders you to, so you have no choice.
Ah,
Um, so when I went into the last hearing, hoping to get a trial date, I walk in and I actually sit in the front of the courtroom right with by my lawyer. And sitting right there, I was grabbed by I guess it's the bailiff you called. Me and my director of legal grabbed and made to move past there's lots of journalists, lots of fans in there that were actually supporting me. And
mm,
I had to go, they had to walk us. I'm like, I'll sit this next row. No, move back. Moved us all the way to the last row in the courtroom. So I couldn't even sit with my attorney. Um, that's how that court hearing went. And the judge said she was going to set a trial date. From my understanding, within a few days. That was in November. I haven't heard peep. So yeah,
goodness. So
waiting.
it's still ongoing.
Yeah, I've been waiting, just waiting for a trial date. And then people don't realize it, but I didn't. Like, you have a right to a speedy trial in America. The
Yep,
founding
that's
fathers, I'm in Massachusetts right now. I think they thought of me about this. um, well,
exactly.
in the civil world, in federal civil law, and they should change this and make these big companies that delay it have to pay, or at least pay for your lawyers. Um, the courts can drag it on as long as they want. I've looked up online. I can't find a case against Live Nation. I'm by far the longest case. There's most people just throw in the towel in 2 years. I'm the longest, but I've Googled cases. I can't find a case in the United States for my type of thing, tortious interference with a contract, that is longer, close to the time frame of my case that's not on appeal because I'm not on appeal. So I'm just trying to get my day in court from a jury so I can expose evidence that I have against Live Nation that I believe which will cause lower ticket prices because they run a racket.
Good lord. That is insane how these big companies just they're like, "Oh, yes. We're gonna get you this information that you need. So actually, we need more time. We we wanted we need more time." Like I can't that shouldn't even be there should be a time frame where it's like, "Hey, you can only ask for more time maybe once or twice within like a time in a set time period because that's insane to have to go through that for 16 years now. That's wild to me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I said, I'm like, look, the Meadowlands was a brand new stadium. Live Nation said it's their stadium. They run all this tours through there for the last 16 years. What would happen if I did this to them? Would that stadium be rusting from 2011 at a brand new $2 billion stadium? It's two-tier system.
Wow. That's yeah. Well, I hope that it finally comes to a head and I hope they pay you what you're due because that's a long time of have you lost revenue dealing with this situation of them interfering with your contract and things like that?
Yeah, so when they interfered with my contract, they didn't just interfere with my contract, they wiped out the whole contract. It got destroyed. We couldn't secure talent because they blocked it. So
Oh.
got kicked out of the whole contract. They defamed me through the whole entire industry. Um, I was nominated the number one promoter at the time by the New Jersey Star Ledger. That's like the largest paper in New Jersey. It's the largest
Okay.
state paper in the United States, and papers meant a lot more back then. And there was only 4 people nominated, and Live Nation got my name removed. Um, I got wiped out. They bad mouthed me so bad, I got blacklisted from the whole entire industry. That whole career that I'd built, I lost it all. I ended up going worse than when I was 16. I went homeless. Um, and I had to pick up the pieces and start from scratch. I'd been an entrepreneur my whole life. I had to go try to get a job, and I was having a hard time because I'm going in with resumes this thick with Paris Hilton, Kardashians, fabulous. And they're like, "What are you doing here, dude?" So I got a job going door to door selling cable. Um, I got good at it really quick, and that's how I was able to initially fund the litigation. I built a company that sells cable door to door, internet door to door, and that's how I've funded the litigation for 16 years now.
Wow. Yeah, they owe you a very hefty check for all of that they put you through. I really hope that comes to a head and justice is actually served instead of the big boys getting their way.
Yeah, it's, two-tiered.
I understand. So that reminds me of how a lot of small creators typically deal with like plagiarism, like bigger brand, like they'll come up with their own original idea and then bigger brands will actually steal it and then sell it themselves. But because the creator was small and not well known, now they have to decide if they're going to fight the big brand, and usually they don't have the resources. So what would be your thoughts on that for anyone who has to deal with something like that?
It's pretty tough because what I would say is, like, if you're I can only go from my experience. I don't wish anybody wait 16 years, but if you're passionate in what you believe in, if it's for mine is for a greater good now. Mine's really for the fans, for what Live Nation does to the whole industry. It's not about me or the money anymore. It's been too long. I wanted that a long time ago. Can't That's a long time ago in my career. But anybody else, I would just say it sucks because I'd love to say, hey, just fight, fight. But the system is such for the big corporations, and they have a lot of lobbying money and a lot of power with lawyers and a lot of money. So people I've talked to, same thing. They, trying to battle these bigger companies, they get tied up and then they run out of resources. So unless you're up for a really long fight, a lot of legal bills, a lot of work itself. I had to do legal work for 16 years at night because I have one attorney, Andrew Smith. He's awesome, but I battle 2,000 attorneys in a $36 billion company. If you're up to battle a huge company, um, do it. And it sucks, but but be prepared for a long fight. I hope it ain't gonna be as long for anybody else as me, but, um, but be prepared for a long fight, and if you believe in it, do it. You believe it's for the greater good for something than just yourself, do it. But it's a tough thing in this country fighting the monopolies and the huge companies. As I think you can see with me. But I hope for anybody else they'll get, and maybe this will be something that can change some laws or legislation to force, if these big companies delay, that they have to pay for some of the legal fees at least. Um, or law gets changed on a statute of limitations. Because in criminal cases, that's what I always thought you get cases right away, right to speedy trial. So
What I thought.
maybe the Congress or the Senate pass legislation, or state Congresses, or Senates pass legislation on rights to speedy trials for these big monopolies that can afford all the high priced attorneys and lobbyists.
Mhm.
And when the average people that have these great ideas and get wiped out and get it stolen from them, they can't even get it back because they get dragged down in the courts so long in the mud and all the finances that they throw in the towel. I've known so many that have talked to me and they've thrown in the towel after like 2, 3 years because they can't pay for it anymore. So yeah, I think there needs to be change, and I think there should be legislation passed by the U.S. Senate and Congress for a right for a speedy trial for regular people versus these. If a company has over a certain net worth, like billions of dollars, um,
Right.
they should have to not say we need more time. You got enough lawyers. Come on, and that's not just for me. That's, I would say, for anybody else you're saying there, because I feel bad saying to anyone like, but it's. I want to be real. It's going to be a hard battle right now with the current the system we have.
Yeah, that yeah, I definitely agree. That should definitely be a change where if it's like, hey, if we have the right to a speedy trial, then that means these big companies who have a lot of resources should not be able to delay a speedy trial. And if they do try to delay it, they should have to pay a hefty fee. That definitely should
Exactly.
be the case.
They should have to pay the plaintiffs, the person suing them, all their legal bills,
Mhm.
and like maybe 10 times worth of damages on top, if not even more,
Yes,
for
definitely.
anyone.
Yep, I agree. I would probably say for to anyone listening, for and if you would agree, let me know. For small creators, I would say keep a paper trail. Keep the evidence of this is my original idea. This is when it was created. This is, at the bare minimum, because not everyone has the resources to be like, oh, I'm going to go pay for a trademark attorney, and sometimes we don't even know what we're supposed to do to protect our creations. That's one of the things. And then until we get into that situation where it's like, hey, this big company took my idea, how do I protect that? At least I'd say keep a paper trail for, your artistic creation. So that way, whoa. So that way, hopefully when things do change, you have something to fight with, where it's like, hey, I can at least prove that this is my idea. I came up with it and they had nothing to do with it, or they released the same design a year later. Cause I've been seeing a lot of that from like clothing creators, and small artists, people who put their stuff online because
Yeah.
that's the world we live in with social media and all that, and then their stuff is stolen and it's posted a year later, and then these companies are making revenue off their ideas that they did not contact the creator for, did not ask for, didn't pay for, nothing. And
And
when you
some of
don't
them are making billions.
right, and are making billions off of an idea, you could have at least paid me or got a contract to use my work, So that's the struggle with being a creative in this world, especially with the online space. So I was having trouble finding a lot of the stuff concerning, the trial and the everything with it. Would you say you're more of like an in-person, in the community type person? Are you really online like that or not really?
Well, I was stayed quiet for like 15 years, respecting the court system, and
Ah,
finally I
right,
was
right,
like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit anymore because my lawyers, my witnesses are getting old." I'm from the club world. We party a lot. I'm in good health,
right.
but like some of the people were at older age, at the time, I'm going, these witnesses are getting old. I don't know if they're
Mm,
gonna make it to a trial. So I'm like, I gotta speak, you know?
yep.
So right now I've been, I've been vocally getting out there and speaking for not just for myself now. Like I uncovered a lot of evidence in my case showing how Live Nation really rips off fans through racketeering, basically. I call
Mm,
it money laundering and a bunch of other financial frauds. So I'm going to present at a trial, and I'm excited to do so because I want ticket price to be lower. And I've watched like what Live Nation's done to the industry, like for the 16 years since they merged with Ticketmaster. They've wiped out so many small creators, so many
mm.
independent promoters, artist development. They've crushed, and it's just become one power, one company over the whole thing. So now I'm vocally speaking out there. At my website, TommyDJuiceEntertainment.com, people can support me on Twitter, I had a small account, but Live Nation's head legal counsel of the world, Dan Wall, he actually attacked me on Twitter and it made it into page 6 of the New York Post. I was kind of excited because I used to be in page 6 all the time. My clubs, I was in there all the time with celebrities, Kardashians, Paris Hilton, all the time. So I was like, "Hey, thanks for getting me back in page 6." They mocked because I only it was pretty funny. They're like, "He attacked the account that had 400 followers." I only had like 1 because I didn't use Twitter. But now my Twitter's starting to make some moves. People are starting to gain traction. I'm getting a lot of fans supporting me across the world, from Australia, UK to Germany. I was just in a huge German publication. So my Twitter is Tommy D Prime Tim Tim 1. Um, and I'm asking for people, for support, but really support against Live Nation, what they're doing to creators, what they're doing to artists, what they're doing to fans, these high ticket prices. Come on, who can pay this every single day? And I'm really I've continued my cause now in my fight. It's not even for my trial at this point. It's now continued for the really justice for the music industry that made me. I wouldn't have never made it. I wouldn't even be alive if it wasn't for music. Music is life for me, and it is for so many people. And people deserve that want to be artists that want to make it to the top. They deserve the opportunity. Promoters like me that worked really hard from nothing to make it, well, kids deserve to be able to do the same thing, and they can't do the same thing when there's one company controlling a whole entire industry. So that's what I'm fighting for: fans, for the industry, for the independent scenes, and for every other little guy and people getting ripped off on tickets. That's what I'm for. If you like the big company that rips you off, go support them. If you want support independence, independent artists, and fans, rock with me.
Yep, I definitely agree. I would definitely say I think we're as a society, I would say it's split. You got some people who are sticking with the big brands because it's familiar, they know, you know what I mean? But then there are some who are like, I want to support the little guy. I'm definitely a big advocate of like, hey, let's spread the news on the little people who are actually doing these things that you're looking for. So that way we can support them. And like you said, we can help new artists, independent artists get to the top. I think I've been seeing a lot more people go for being independent versus going towards like labels and wanting to get deals because of all these things that are going on with these big companies. They just keep, you got to take care of your people, but for some reason the big brands are like, no, we're not going to take care of our people. We're going to take care of our wallets.
Yeah, well, Live Nation's wiped out most of the whole independent scene. Where these artists come from? Right now, you have like the top 1% of artists that make all the money,
Yep.
and pack out those stadiums. Well, these artists, they're not going to be created. What happens when those older ones are disappear? What happens to the scene then? Is there even one?
Yep.
And about big companies, I don't know anybody that supports Live Nation and Ticketmaster, um, unless you're on their board of directors, you're on
Mm.
their payroll, or you're on their take. Besides that, I don't know anybody that supports them because they've screwed over so many people. People are just forced to buy tickets from them, forced to go to their shows. And I don't tell people not to go to their shows because people are like, tell them to protest. No, because music is life, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm definitely a music girly through and through. Music is a great
So,
connector for everybody. Love music. So what is TicketCon that's coming up? What is that?
yeah, so TicketCon is a ticket conference I was invited to speak. It's in New Orleans, July 26th, New Orleans. I'm gonna be one of the speakers there, so I'm really it's run by Ticket Talk Network. Scott Friedman's the owner, invited me to speak there, so I'm really excited to speak in front of a big ticket conference with everybody throughout the whole entire industry, and tell my story and give my perspective of how I think the industry needs to change, what needs to change with the monopolies, and what needs to be like done so fans have better prices and independent artists and independent promoters get more of a level playing field, get a chance. They have an opportunity, not like it is now. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to speak there. And I tell everybody come down. I'll be speaking there, and I'm gonna say a lot of stuff I've not said publicly before.
Ooh, that's
Ticket coming
exciting.
2026.
July when is it?
26, New Orleans.
July 26th, 2026 in New Orleans, in my hometown. That is
Oh, your
lit.
hometown, nice.
Yes, I was
I
raised
love New
there.
Orleans.
Oh, yes, I love New Orleans. It's where I was raised until I was, like, 10, so I always say that's my hometown.
Nice, I'm
So
always Jersey, so
yep, exactly. You gotta rep the hometown, it's only right. So where can people find you if they wanna connect with you? Like, where do you hang out online?
So Tommy D, juiceentertainment.com, Twitter, Tommy D, Prime Tim, Tim. Um, yeah, Prime Tim 1, sorry. See, my Twitter account's new. It's blowing up, but it's new.
Yep.
And then if you just Google my name, you'll see my TikTok, my Instagram. I'm getting a lot of followers from across the world. I'm getting a lot of fan support from almost every Live Nation's in like 70 countries. I'm getting fan support in like 60 countries.
Woo!
So not bad. Fans are really rallying behind me and they're giving me energy. And that court hearing you were talking about when I was in November that I had
Mhm.
to go to, nobody likes going to court. When I went to court, I've been, it's hard fight, 16 years, you get tired, you know? I was getting a little tired. I went to the court. I was shocked. I called for people to show up and support. I didn't think anybody was going to come there. There was tons of people with signs, justice for Tommy D, lower ticket prices, shut down Live Nation. I was like, shit, I ain't quitting now. I got to take this all the way. It inspired me though. But you know what I mean? Because like, who likes going to court? I don't went to court when I got in trouble when I was younger for throwing house parties. No one wants to go to court. I don't. And these people taking off work, showing up there, mad respect. So any fans that have, a lot of them reached out to me, every single one, I really appreciate it. I'm doing it for the industry as a whole and for fans. So I really appreciate every person's support. If it's on social media, emails, full amount of phone calls, I've been overwhelmed with them. And it's something that's just really something I really, really passionately really do really appreciate. It means a lot.
Yep, that sounds awesome to have that support. I'm really glad that the community is rallying behind you, and I'm so excited for you. I hope that, like I said, I hope that justice is finally served after such a long time, and that these overly priced ticket prices, because I've seen some of them where they're like thousands, hundreds, and thousands, and I'm just like, no, no, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I
Like,
got close to throwing in the towel, and I saw their CEO in the last year because I just got tired. I saw him go on TV with all these high prices and says ticket prices are too low. Let's raise ticket prices. I was like, yeah, I can't quit. I was like, get a reality check, bro. Go in a stadium anywhere on the country. I dare you get on a microphone and say, I'm Michael Rapino, the CEO of Live Nation. Let's raise ticket prices. I don't think it's going to work out so good. You know,
oh, I don't think so.
fans can't afford this. People can't afford this.
Right. If you want people to show up, you gotta make it realistically accessible.
And it's the working class people that are, well, no.
Right. People deserve to be able to go to concerts and have fun and see their favorite artists in person. I've only been to like one local concert, like a couple of them, but the energy is, I would say it's unmatched from listening to just the music itself on like your phone or device. The energy of a live concert is definitely exciting. So I definitely think that everyone should experience that if that's their jam. And it should be accessible if they want to be able to afford it without having to cash out a 401k to afford one ticket a year.
Yeah, facts. People all say it's only the rich that are going. It's the working class that are pulling all these credit card debts, not missing rent, to go to a concert, missing
Right.
car payments. You get your car repoed because you want to go to a concert. But look, people want to go. Music is life. Like I said, it's a basic human right. So yeah, change is needed.
I definitely agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was really great. I loved hearing your story. And like I said, I really hope that it all works out, and keep up the good fight, because it's hard to do the right thing, but it's so worth it when it comes
Well,
around.
thank you very much for having me, and anybody listening, thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you. And I hope you have a good day.
Thanks for listening to the Mom Boss Like a Boss podcast. If you have any thoughts on the episode, please feel free to reach out to me on Threads or Instagram. You can find me at The Creative Altruist, all one word, no spaces, underscores, or periods. It'll also be right there in the description. Until next time.